Hello, I'm Jonathan Frank for Broadway World. After a successful run off Broadway at the Vineyard Theater, Nikki Silver's hit play, The Lyons, transferred to Broadway at the Court Theater, bringing along with it its entire original cast, directed by Mark Brokaw and starring Linda Lavin and Dick Latessa. And I'm here at Sardi's to celebrate with the company.
To kill me.
It was a whim.
Congratulations. How does it feel to have your first Broadway show opening?
Well, it feels fantastic. I mean, it's really thrilling and really moving, but also, to be honest with you, most of the time it just feels like I'm doing a play. It feels like the work is the work, whether you're doing it at the Vineyard or you're doing it in a garage or you're doing it on Broadway. Of course, the fact that we're on Broadway is very, very exciting, so I don't mean to diminish that, but there's no difference.
Now, I found the play absolutely hysterical when I saw it, but when I try to explain it to people, it sounds like a Greek tragedy. How would you explain your show?
A Greek tragedy. No, I would describe it. The producers asked me, can we call it this? I said, you can call it a sex farce if it'll sell tickets. What the hell do I care? I would say it's a really funny, hopefully, it's a really, really funny play about a family who is brought together by a crisis, the father's impending death. But as individuals, they happen to be extremely funny. That's how I would describe it.
Well, since your director, Mark Brokaw, has laryngitis today, how would you describe working with him?
When he's healthy, fantastic. It has been a fantastic, fantastic treat. He's done a remarkable job. And really, I mean, the cast and the company, the director, the designers, the play would have to be so horrible for audiences not to respond to it with that group of people working on it. It's just a miracle.
He's dying.
Oh, for God's sake, Lisa, everything with you is tragedy.
No, you don't understand.
Well, I mean, we're all dying, aren't we?
Not this week, we're not.
What do you mean?
He's dying.
What?
He's got cancer. Apparently in every inch of him, and he's gonna die. Tonight, tomorrow, maybe next week.
Not next week.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
That's right. And they've known this. They've known this for some time, the two of them, and they never told us.
You're dying?
Did you hear me? They have known this for months. They never said a thing.
We didn't want to bother you.
Can you believe this? Our father is clinging to life by a cobweb. They never mentioned it.
Well, actually, I think that's nice. I think it's sort of considerate.
What?
I think it's thoughtful.
You're serious?
In fact, given the grotesquely narcissistic and infantile standard by which they normally operate, I think it's surprisingly generous.
Thank you, dear.
Well, first of all, congratulations on your Broadway opening. How do you feel?
I feel fantastic. I'm really happy to be open. I love the play. I love Nikki. I love everybody in it, so it's a thrill.
Now, how is it doing it on Broadway instead of at the Vineyard?
It's really wonderful. I feel like the play's opened up in a really fantastic way. I mean, the Vineyard's a really special place to work, and I love that theater a lot. But I don't know, there's something about being in that house. I feel like it's done nice things for the play, and it's a pleasure to be there. So.
Well, it's an absolutely hysterical play, but it's a very dark, I mean, I've been calling it almost a Greek tragedy when I try to explain it to people.
Yeah.
And your character, pardon me, I'm saying, is kind of a mess. How would you describe it? Because he's really a lot of fun, but he's kind of a mess.
I would say he's a total. I would say he's a lot of a mess. I mean, granted, we're catching him at a very, very difficult point in his life, where sort of a lot of things are happening at once. I mean, but what I love about the play is there's so much hope for him at the end. I think even though he's a disaster, there's a lot of hope and love for him and for everyone in the play.
Right, of all the characters, you kind of get the redemption at the end.
I think everybody sort of gets what they need at the end of the play. I think there's a loving act towards every one of the characters in the end. You know, I think that, I mean, not to give anything away, but what happens for my father, in the afterlife, and what happens for my sister, she finds a connection, and my mother finds something, and so do I at the end, even in the most unlikely way, It's,
How much fun are you having working with your cast?
I mean, it couldn't be any better. I love them so much, and they're so extraordinary. So to be able to go on stage with them every night, it's a dream. It's incredible.
Now, what is it like doing the show on Broadway instead of at the Vineyard?
It's
bigger, better, funnier. I mean, it feels like a bonus round of the most fabulous game you've ever played. This is just an incredible surprise that we're all here. So I got that call, and I thought, it's the call you dream of getting when you do a fabulous off-Broadway play.
And how has Nikki Silver been to work with?
He's been present. He's so loving. He's so funny. He's actually unbelievably kind and loving, in addition to being absolutely brilliant. A great resource, a great person.
Well, and his words are so absolutely hysterical. Has he been like that in rehearsals as well?
He's like that probably wherever he's standing right now. He's like that. He just wakes up, and someone should just follow him around and write down every single thing he says.
Well, I keep thinking he should be a great reality TV show just centered around him.
I would so watch that.
Now, what has it been like working with your cast, all of whom joined you on the trip?
Gosh. It's like a great, wacky family. I mean, we just love each other, and there's so much support and humor, and everybody's just a real team player. It's a great family.
Now, how would you describe your character?
Hot mess. Lisa's a hot mess, but aren't we all?
In Nikki Silver plays, yes, you are.
Deep down, it's great to play a girl that unravels on the surface instead of, holds it together.
Now, your poor director's had laryngitis today, so he hasn't been able to say anything. Is there anything that you can give us as bon mots about your director?
Oh, Mark is so patient, so wise, and so generous. He's a rock, and he gave me such great insight into Lisa and into this family. He and Nikki together are they should have a reality series together. It's a wonderful, odd couple that works well together.
He just seems to me to be just a little bit retarded. Not excessively.
Jeremy!
Moderately, a little.
Why would you say that?
Well, it's not a criticism.
How was the transfer from the Vineyard to Broadway?
It's been great. We were able to have a couple months off to let the play go, in a sense, from the Vineyard, and then come back to it fresh. So I think we've found a lot more to the play than we had initially. Having the chance to have that time away from it and then to come back and to be able to come back to it and do it on the Broadway is pretty spectacular.
Now, you're playing one of the few non-Lyons characters, non-family members. How is that working out?
Oh, it's great. Well,
You get to be the insanity like the rest of the other characters, I guess is what I mean.
I try to bring a little normalcy to it, but lo and behold, it's a Nikki Silver play, and there's not as much normalcy as you'd like. But it's been fantastic. It's a really interesting dynamic to be one of the outsiders of the family and see how the character of Curtis interacts with somebody in the outside world, and it's a bizarre tale.
And how is it like being in a Nikki Silver play and saying Nikki Silver language?
It's brilliant. I mean, it's brilliant. Nikki is a brilliant writer. He's just amazing, and I'm so honored to be a part of his Broadway debut. It's just an amazing thing.
Now, your poor director has laryngitis, so hasn't been able to say anything. So are there any words you can say about your director in his plays?
Well, Mark is a dream come true. I mean, he's such an intelligent, kind, gentle director who I felt, and I think everybody felt, that you could trust absolutely, and that's so important to have in a director. And I'm so thrilled that we were all able to do the run at the Vineyard and then all be together, including Mark, for this leg of it.
Oh, I feel happy and proud, a little relieved. We finally opened this beautiful play, and it's been so well received by our wonderful audiences. So it's a great time. It's a gift to be in a wonderfully written play.
Well, you get to play the more human, more sane member of this company.
Yes, I do. And from the moment I read the role of Nurse Jeanette, I loved it. I saw exactly where Nikki was taking her and where she fit in with his beautiful play, and I've felt very honored to have been chosen to play this nurse from the very beginning.
Has the part been pretty much the same since the Vineyard until...
Yeah. Very little has changed, and I think that's very smart. The play is a beautifully written piece of theater. So just a thing here and there, but no, she's been quite the same, from the beginning.
And what is it like working with your entire company, all of whom joined you?
Wonderful, yes, yeah. Such talented, gracious, supportive people. Mark Brokaw, I think, is just one of the finest directors an actor could have. He misses nothing. Every detail is right there at his fingertips. And Nikki has been a seventh cast member. He's always been there for us. Every rehearsal, Nikki is there. Every rehearsal. And it's just a friend being there as opposed to the playwright. So it's really been a wonderful, wonderful journey.
What would you think of a Marrakesh theme? Middle Eastern?
I'm getting a headache.
I mean, I realize you won't actually be there to enjoy it, but I'd like to think you'd like it.
I wouldn't.
Try to keep an open mind. Burnt desert colors, pointed arches, mosaics on the floor.
I don't care.
It could be sweet. Think Bedouin.
Oh, who gives a shit?
You could feign interest to be polite.
I don't want to. Why should I?
Is it too much to ask to pretend that you care? I've been saddled with the same living room furniture for 30 years, all mismatched and grotesque. Every stain on every piece of fabric, a reminder of something horrible, some disastrous day I had to live through. Is it too much to want a fresh start? Is it too much to hope for a clean palette? I look at that sofa. Ugh, I know it was cream when we bought it. It's just a washed out color of dashed hopes. The chairs are the shade of disgust. The carpet is matted down with resignation.
What the hell does that mean?
Is it wrong of me to want a new beginning? I'm not that old. I'm not so old that I should just give up. People who quit are quitters. People who fight are fighters. I suppose that's so obvious, isn't it? I don't want to just dry up and crumble away, so you can either participate or you can just complain.
I'm dying, Rita.
Yeah, I know, but try to be positive.
First of all, congratulations on your opening night. How do you feel?
I feel elated and happy and excited and relieved and hungry, happy to be here celebrating.
Now, how is this show different on Broadway versus at the Vineyard?
Well, it would have taken us 9 nights to do this show for the amount of people who get to see it on Broadway. We played for 125 people off Broadway, very small theater. Now we're in a very a medium-sized Broadway theater where 11 or 1,200 people are watching us, but it's still a very intimate experience because the Court is a very intimate theater. There's a strong connection with the audience. It's the play has grown and deepened in the time that we've had to develop it. In terms of the relationships, the writing has not changed very much because it was impeccably written to begin with.
Now, it is one of the funniest shows I've seen, but it is almost a Greek tragedy in its underlying layers. How do you navigate those shows?
Well, it's something I love doing, playing pain and anger and comedy at the same moment. And Nikki Silver knows how to write that, so all I have to do is show up and say the lines.
And what is it like working with Dick Latessa?
It's wonderful working with Dick. Dick is a formidable performer. He's present, and he's outrageous and committed to the passion and anger in this man, a life force. He's a force of nature, and I love working with him.
Our children are a disaster. Lonely and terrible. I blame you.